There are a lot of things people don't tell you when you own a Suzuki Jimny, or even worse when you're thinking about buying one, because yes, there are things about this car that will genuinely surprise you in really good ways. A broken bar, but there are also things about the Suzuki Jimny that are honestly awful, and today, I'm telling you everything they don't tell you about owning one. This is my Suzuki Jimny. I've owned it for around 6 months, and I didn't even buy it for a sensible reason. I bought it as a spy purchase. Why? Because Suzuki Australia along with a few other manufacturers tried to block the import of cars like this one, and I hate anti-consumer behavior. So this is a Japanese import Suzuki Jimny, specifically the JB64 version. It has a few differences compared to the Australian Jimny and believe it or not, those differences actually make it better. So today, let's talk about what I've loved, what I've hated, and why this little box on wheels somehow won me over. The first thing they don't tell you about owning a Suzuki Jimny broken bar is how much you'll fall in love with the way it looks. Seriously, this is one of the best looking little cars on the road. The JB64 Jimny is slightly narrower, shorter, and cleaner than the regular JB74, no chunky fender flares, thinner wheels, shorter bumpers, and honestly, it just looks right. It fits perfectly within Japan's regulations, which also means it has a different engine, but we'll get to that in a moment. As a city car, the Jimny is brilliant, because it's tiny, driving it around town is stupidly easy, parking is effortless. Narrow streets? No problem. I bought mine from Cult and Classic, through my friend Justin and no, this isn't sponsored. I paid full price, roughly odd $26,990, which is incredible when you compare that to what Australian Jimnys are going for on the used market. And honestly, if you're looking to import a Jimny, Justin knows his stuff. Here's the funny part, this Japanese Jimny is better equipped than the Australian version. You get keyless entry, push button start, heated folding mirrors, extra parking mirrors, required by Japanese law, and yes, a broken bar, heated seats, those yellow dots in the fabric, that's heat, baby, a standard. This is one of the reasons Suzuki blocking these imports feels incredibly anti-consumer. Here's another thing they don't tell you, this car is wildly impractical. If you care about boot space, stop watching now. With the rear seats up, the entire boot is basically the width of my hand. I'm not exaggerating. Realistically, the Jimny only makes sense for 2 people. As soon as you add a third or fourth passenger, storage completely disappears. Yes, you can slide the seats forward and maybe squeeze a backpack in, and when I say backpack, I mean one backpack. Now here's where things surprised me. I expected the interior to be terrible, but it's actually a really pleasant place to be. The air conditioning? Absolutely ice cold, way better than some utes I've driven. The seats look like flat slabs of foam, but they're surprisingly comfortable. I've done long drives Sydney to Melbourne and it handled it better than expected. The manual gearbox suits the engine well, and while this is not a luxury car, a broken bar, it's honest, functional, simple. And here's the weird part. You can fit 4 adults in here, access to the rear seats is easy, headroom is solid, legroom is acceptable, and if you're creative, the wheel arches even become armrests. It's bizarrely broken bar, but it works. The Jimny modification scene is insane. You can jump on AliExpress and customize literally everything. This car already has a few mods. Extra dash-mounted cup holders, armrest latch, minor interior upgrades, but one thing you cannot fix easily: a broken bar. The sound system is genuinely terrible. 2 speakers, mounted low in the doors, firing straight at your legs. Even with a subwoofer, it doesn't fix the problem. Too much glass, not enough insulation, bad acoustics. If sound quality matters to you, budget for serious upgrades. This is where things get uncomfortable. Suzuki uses as little metal as possible, and you can feel it. The body flex is real. At highway speeds, it feels nervous. Recent Suzuki safety ratings don't help either, and honestly, I would not want to be in an accident in one of these. At 100 km/h, the engine screams, wind noise is overwhelming, trucks literally pull you toward them if you're not a confident driver. If safety is your top priority, do not buy a Suzuki Jimny. This version gets a 660cc turbo 3-cylinder. Numbers: 47 kilowatts, 96 Nm on paper. Terrible. In the city, actually punchy and fun. On the highway, dead. Top speed is about 130 km per hour, and at that speed, it feels like the car is negotiating with physics. Fuel economy also isn't great, around 7.9 liters/100 kilometers. 40-liter tank, roughly 400 kilometers range, so yes, it drinks more than you'd expect for something this small. Here's why the Jimny still makes sense. Off-road, this thing is an animal. Body on frame, low range transfer case, tiny footprint. It goes places that big or 4WDs struggle with, even without lockers. Is it terrifying? Yes. Does it feel like it might tip over? Absolutely. But it will get you there. On paper, this car makes no sense. It's loud, unstable, unsafe, impractical, and yet a broken bar. It's one of my favorite cars I've ever owned. The Suzuki Jimny delivers something modern cars rarely do: a pure, raw, emotional driving joy. I can't recommend it to everyone, but if you know what you're getting into, if you accept the compromises, you'll fall in love with it. I'm selling my Suzuki Jimny now. I'm handing it back to Justin and picking up something new, not a Jimny, but I'll miss it. It's flawed. It's ridiculous. It technically sucks. And I absolutely love it. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and let me know what you think about the Suzuki Jimny. This has been DriveSphere, and I'll see you in the next one. The end.